right, Jeff, and now it's time to welcome our next guest, income specialist Joann Regan. She's president of Financial Security Group, a retirement income store located in Glendale, Arizona. Joann has been helping clients with tax, estate, and retirement planning now for over 2 decades. Joann, thanks so much for being back with us here on the Income Generation.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for having me. It's a great day to be talking about income, isn't it?
It always is, yep.
No doubt about that, Joann. But speaking of income, in your experience, do a lot of the people that you meet for the first time have a good understanding of their savings and investment options, or do you find that they're limited in scope?
I would have to say that it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I have some very sophisticated people that come in and they're very knowledgeable, and they're knowledgeable about what their investments are doing and their savings and so forth. And then I'll have the person that comes in that just absolutely has no idea. They've placed something in some sort of a product and it's been there for decades and they absolutely don't know what to do, how it's doing. They have no way to analyze it.
So what are some of the main points in that kind of a conversation you try to stress when educating maybe new clients that you're working with about investing for income and utilizing the income model?
Well, obviously, I have to explain to them what the income model is and how it works, and that when they are dependent on their investments for income, what they need to do and how that needs to apply to their specific situation. So obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze their income needs. And then I'm going to show them how they are not being able to do that with the portfolio or the investments that they currently have. And so I'm going to kind of guide them through the process, educate them, and get them to understand that they want to take income from their portfolio and not be taking out their principal.
So when you have that conversation, do you find that sometimes they get really surprised about the income that they can create? And what is most surprising that they've expressed to you?
I think that they don't, just because they don't understand what's going on and they don't understand how their portfolio works, that is a surprise to them, that maybe they're having to sell off assets in order to take that check that they want. And I tell them, you can reinvest this a little tiny bit differently. And then instead of taking out principal, you're taking out what that principal is actually generating so that your money's going to last you longer in your retirement.
What are people most surprised about when you explain the income model and they see the difference? And what are some of the shocking remarks they've shared with you in that regard?
Well, the most surprising thing that I find is people don't understand that when they have to sell off investments to take a check every month versus their investments are earning dividends or interest or something that's paying income, what a huge difference that's going to make to them, that they're not liquidating principal and they're actually going to be able to take income and be able to enjoy their life and their retirement like they had originally planned. So it's a big shock to them that there's a difference in the model in the way that they can do things.
So what happens when you get that person who typically it's the accountant or the engineer who mathematically projects out at rates of return that they should be okay to stay invested for growth and to sell shares, as you said, which is, I agree with you, is a no-no. When they've got all this math to back it up, and you've got to get through to them because it means really a successful retirement versus they're not having a successful retirement. How do you do that with that tougher nut to crack?
Well, I have an extremely huge accounting and tax background, and I'm an accountant, so I can relate to those people fairly easily. And when I'm talking to them, I have to give them numbers. I have to show them exactly what they're doing versus what the income model will do for them. And a lot of them see the light. Some of them don't. They're convinced that the way that they do it right, and obviously that's not going to work, for them to be a client. But most of the people, I'm able to show the difference between the two models, and they totally are surprised by it and are eager to, try to adjust to that type of an income model.
Yeah, most people just don't understand the difference between taking an average rate of return versus having some great years, some bad years that may average the same, but it affects you adversely once you're retired. So big difference. Joann, thanks so much for being back with us as usual. We love having you here with us.
Well, I appreciate it. It is a pleasure to talk to both of you today.